and they'll go back and forth because, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Many know Charles Pole as the mastermind behind the incredible Dr. Pole, but few realize the alleged tragedies he's faced. From shocking family losses to unexpected struggles in the spotlight, his journey hasn't been easy. What really happened to Dr. Pole's son? The rumored truth is far more tragic than fans expected. For years, Dr. John Pole has been the face of veterinary care on television. His dedication to animals and his no-nonsense approach made the incredible Dr. Pole a massive success. But behind the scenes, one man played a crucial role in making it all possible. His son, Charles Pole. Charles wasn't just a familiar face on screen, he was the mastermind behind the show. As its executive producer, he worked tirelessly to capture the raw, emotional, and often unpredictable reality of veterinary life. His vision turned what could have been a simple documentary into a heartfelt and engaging series that touched millions. But while the incredible Dr. Pole brought joy to viewers, it also put immense pressure on Charles. Managing production, balancing his father's old-school approach with modern storytelling, and dealing with the public spotlight wasn't easy. Fans saw a confident producer who made things look effortless, but the reality was far more complicated. As the years went by, challenges began piling up. Between personal heartbreak and the growing demands of the show, Charles faced struggles that few people knew about. And when the show was suddenly canceled, everything changed for him. What really happened to Charles Pole? Before the incredible Dr. Pole, Charles had dreams of making it big in Hollywood. He studied communications at the University of Miami and later worked with major companies like Paramount Pictures and Mirage Enterprises. Learning from industry legends, he envisioned a future in television, but not necessarily one centered around his family. However, his perspective shifted when he realized the untapped potential in his father's work. To Charles, Dr. Pole wasn't just a veterinarian, he was a natural entertainer. Someone whose real-life experiences could captivate an audience. But convincing his father to do a reality show wasn't easy. Dr. Pole, a man who had spent decades focused solely on animal care, wasn't sure if cameras following his every move would be a good idea. Charles, however, believed that people needed to see the challenges and triumphs of veterinary life. Eventually, he convinced his father, and in 2011, the incredible Dr. Pole was born. Little did Charles know. This decision would change his life forever. The show became an instant hit, but with success came an overwhelming amount of responsibility. Balancing production with family life and personal struggles became an uphill battle, one that would soon take its toll. Most people see reality TV as just entertainment, but for those behind the scenes, it's a relentless, high-pressure job. Charles wasn't just producing a show, he was managing a brand, a family business, and a legacy. Filming the incredible Dr. Pole was no easy feat. Each episode took about a week to shoot, capturing long days filled with emergencies, farm visits, and heart-wrenching moments. While Dr. Pole focused on treating animals, Charles had to ensure every episode maintained its emotional and educational impact. The pressure to keep the show fresh while staying true to its authenticity weighed heavily on him. Fans had high expectations, and meeting them meant constant problem-solving and long hours. To make things harder, being on television meant the family was under constant public scrutiny. Every move they made was analyzed by viewers, some of whom weren't always kind. For Charles, navigating both the creative and personal challenges of being in the public eye became exhausting. Yet, through it all, he kept pushing forward. But even the strongest individuals can only handle so much before the weight of their responsibilities begins to break them down. Beyond the cameras and production challenges, Charles faced personal heartbreak that deeply impacted his life. One of the hardest moments came when a close family member, his nephew Adam, passed away unexpectedly. The loss was devastating for the entire Pole family, but for Charles, it hit especially hard. Adam had been young, full of promise, and a beloved part of their lives. Losing someone so close left a void that was impossible to fill. Despite his grief, Charles continued working on the show. He tried to focus on his responsibilities, but those who knew him could see that he wasn't the same. He carried the emotional weight of his loss while still handling the pressure of keeping the incredible Dr. Pole running smoothly. Over time, it became clear that balancing personal struggles and the demands of reality TV was becoming too much. He was trying to keep everything together, but behind the scenes, the emotional burden was taking its toll. Then, the unthinkable happened. The show was canceled. For over a decade, The Incredible Dr. Pole was more than just a television show. It was a part of millions of people's lives. Fans tuned in every week to watch Dr. Pole, Charles, and the entire team navigate the challenges of veterinary medicine. The show wasn't just about saving animals. It was about the heartwarming moments, the emotional farewells, and the deep family bond that made it special. Then, without warning, it was gone. The news of its cancellation spread quickly, and fans were left in disbelief. The series had seemed like an unstoppable force, continuing season after season with loyal viewers eager for more. Why would such a beloved show come to an end after 24 seasons? There was no single clear reason. Some industry insiders speculated that ratings had started to dip. Others pointed to the growing challenges of producing a show in a rural setting, where unpredictable weather, long hours, and demanding veterinary cases made filming exhausting. But there were also whispers of controversy. Over the years, Dr. Pol had faced criticism from some veterinary professionals who questioned certain aspects of his methods. While his no-nonsense approach had earned him millions of fans, it had also sparked debates within the veterinary community. Could this have contributed to the decision to pull the plug on the show? For Charles, the cancellation was more than just a professional setback. It was deeply personal. This was his show. He had built it from the ground up, shaping its narrative, balancing real-life drama with heartfelt storytelling. He had spent years ensuring that his father's legacy would be remembered, and suddenly, it felt like everything was slipping away. Imagine dedicating over a decade of your life to something, only to have it taken away overnight. That's exactly what happened to Charles. For years, his work behind the scenes had gone unnoticed by many. While his father was the face of the show, Charles was the one keeping everything together, making sure each episode captured the right moments and ensuring that the audience remained engaged. Without his effort, the show wouldn't have become the hit that it was. Now, with the show ending, Charles was forced to ask himself, what next? He could have walked away, faded into the background, and let the cancellation be the end of his journey in television. But that wasn't who he was. Instead, he started looking for new ways to carry on his family's legacy. Fans, devastated by the show's sudden end, rallied in support. Online petitions circulated, demanding that the network reconsider. Viewers shared their favorite memories, heartfelt messages, and stories about how the incredible Dr. Pol had inspired them. But despite the overwhelming love from fans, the show remained canceled. This left Charles standing at a crossroads. Would he try to bring the show back in some form? Would he move on to something completely different? Or would he find another way to tell his family's story? The answers weren't clear, but one thing was certain: this was far from the end for Charles Pol. Instead of stepping away from the spotlight, Charles found a new way to honor his family's legacy. He launched the incredible Pol Farm, a project focused on transforming a large piece of Michigan farmland into a thriving, sustainable operation. This new venture allowed Charles to continue his passion for storytelling while staying connected to his roots. The farm's development was documented, offering fans a fresh glimpse into the Pol family's life. Although the transition was difficult, Charles saw it as an opportunity for growth. He wasn't just carrying on his father's legacy, he was building something new for future generations. But with this shift came new challenges. Would this project capture the same magic as The Incredible Doctor? Pol, only time would tell. Charles Pol's journey has been one of resilience, sacrifice, and reinvention. While his path hasn't been easy, he has continuously found ways to push forward. Through personal loss, the weight of responsibility, and the challenges of reality TV, he has remained dedicated to preserving his family's story. Now, with the incredible Pol Farm, he has the chance to create something entirely his own while still honoring his father's impact. What do you think about his journey? Did the incredible Dr. Pol end too soon? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to check out our next video for more fascinating stories.